Hi everyone, I'm Rubix. Welcome to part 2 of my Discord bot tutorial. I realized that the first one was made ages ago and I created CodeTrack and I kind of abandoned it, but I really feel like I want to try and get this series going now because I think there's a lot of people that want to make bots, but a few of the tutorials that I've watched, and including the tutorial that I watched where I learned all the things, they're a bit outdated now. So I just wanted to try and make an up-to-date one as I can. And actually, since I'm a small YouTuber, I mean, really, it's not hard to get my support on anything that you need. I can literally do anything that you want me to teach you. So with that being said, I've got a little plan for what we're going to do this episode. Basic commands. I'm going to teach you what embeds are and how to make a bot send them, because embeds are pretty important. And then we've got some basic and common commands that you probably want to make. So let's get into it. So an embed basically is these things. See, I've got my bot sending embeds here, like the help command, the rank command. These are embeds. They have a stupid color to the side, and they can have a lot of information. You can do some really great things with these. So they're pretty cool. As to how to make a bot send an embed, we're gonna make. I told you how to make commands last time, so we've got if Mr. prefix. Mr. content and stuff like that. So we're going to make another command and we're going to have it test. So when we say the prefix and then test, the bot should send an embed, and I'm going to teach you what that is. So we're going to use let embed equals new discord.rich embed. The let means that it's local to this variable, so we can use it again and stuff like that. Local to this scope, and then don't put a semicolon at the end of this because we're going to be using this and changing it, so we can do dot. Basically, when I do a dot here, it basically means it's new Discord rich embed dot. And how you set the color of it, or if you set dot, you can have all these things. These are all things that we're going to use to set the color. It's pretty self-explanatory. Just set color. And this can be many things. You can have an RGB value, such as 245 red, 3 green, and 10 blue, like that, as an array. Or you can input a string like black, red, white, all of those things. Or you can have a hex color, which looks something like this for white. Or you can have a hex color like that. Just to keep it simple, I'm gonna use this and call it black, but you can set that color to whatever you want. It's basically just a little strip of color to the left of it. The author is this thing. This thing. This is the author, what you see here. So there's two parameters to this one. There's the avatar, and then there's the what it actually says, such as rank, Rubix, and you see that here, name, and then there's icon as well. So we can call this test author, or this is the author, and then we can have as the icon the person that sends it, message.author.display avatar URL. This will basically make it so whoever actually sends the message, it will be theirs. That will be their profile picture and stuff like that. Next thing we'll learn about is title. So it's just set title. All these are really self-explanatory. It's just set and whatever you want to do. The title is this thing right here. So it's like an author, but it's like it goes under the author. If you have both an author and a title, it will go under the author, and it's literally just a thing in bold. So you can put whatever you want as the title for the embed. So let's just call it this is a title. You'll see what I mean with everything once we finish this. And now there's also set description, which is this thing right here underneath the title. It's just a string of text underneath the title. So we can call it this is a description as an example. And now there's fields. Fields are these things. Like this is a field, information. Economy is a field. Configuration is a field, and they're in line, and you can customize that. There's no fields in these embeds. All of these are basically, every single one of these parameters are optional. You don't have to have a description, you don't have to have a title, you don't have to have an author. You can take them out however you want. So these, for example, don't have fields, but this one does have a field. So we're going to make some fields just to demonstrate. You can have as many fields as you want in an embed. Well, there is a max. I think that's 25 or something. But you won't really ever go over that max. Let's just call this one test field 1. See, the first parameter is the name. Then the second value is a value. Alright, yeah. So the name is the title of the field. So that would be information here. And then the value is what comes under it. So that would be, say, economy is the title. And then this is the value of it. So we can say field value 1 to demonstrate that. We'll leave the last parameter for now. That makes them go inline, but I'll demonstrate that another time. We can add another field, so test field 2, and then make it, say, field value 2 as well. And then let's add a third one. And there's your fields, basically. You can also put links inside these fields, as in you can have an embedded link anywhere except for the footer. So an embedded link, I think I've got an example of this. This is an embedded link. So you join the Omniverse. If you click that, it'll go to a server, and there you go. It basically just makes it blue. It's basically like a hyperlink inside of an embed. And the way that you do that is through these square brackets. And the square brackets are what it will be called. So this is a link, and then you have some of these normal brackets next to it, and that'll be where the link goes to. So let's just find a nice link. So you can make it into a picture of a rabbit, for example, just in case you wanted a picture of a rabbit. If you go to this and then copy this in there, that's a really long link. So we'll see that once we actually run the command. Actually, since I feel like I need to get the point across sooner, let's go run the command right now. It should, oh wait, no, it shouldn't work. Now I want to actually run the command, and then we'll add to it so that we can actually see what exactly we're doing. So in order, this won't actually work in its current state because we've invoked the embed, but we haven't actually made the bot send it. So to make the bot send it, you basically do the same thing as we did with the other command to send a message. So this time you're going to have squiggly brackets and then embed, the name that you put here. This is because you're not sending a string of text, you're sending an embed, and this will send an embed to Discord, basically. So let's try test. As you can see, by the way, I'm using my testing bot because Kojak, and I'm not really using that channel anymore, so I thought I'd use this bot instead. Doesn't matter what bot you use though. And here we have it. So this is the author. Let's see what we've done here. So that's the author display avatar URL. You can see that that's my avatar right there, and the color is black. This is the title, this is the description, this is how it works basically, and this is a link, and this will send us to the bunny rabbit that we put there. So basically send you to any link that you want to put there. So how did I make my field go in line with it like that? Well, it's very simple really. That's what the third parameter is. So if you put true on these third parameters, that will tell it that you want them in line. You can have a maximum of 3 fields in line in an embed. And so if we try running this again, then you can see that they're actually in line now, which is great. There's a few other things we can do with embeds, such as images. We can set an image, and this is basically just a big image at the bottom of it, just to demonstrate. I'm going to look up a picture of a cat. So you can get a cute cat like this, for example, and then just copy that image URL and then throw it in here. And once you run the command again, I don't know why that's there, then you can actually see you'll get a picture of a cute cat in your embed, which is pretty cool. Now you might notice that all the fields aren't in line at this point. That's because you can't have 3 inline fields if you have an image, and there's a lot of things that will stop you from having 3 inline fields. If you want 3 inline fields, you gotta have no images and no thumbnails and stuff like that. That's the only way. Sometimes it just won't happen. Now there's the ability to set a thumbnail, and this is a small picture that I'll show in the top right. It's basically like an image, but I'll show it in the top right instead. So we can get another picture of a cat right here, and if we run the command again, you'll see that we have another picture in the top right. So that's what a thumbnail is. Now there's set timestamp and set footer. You don't need set timestamp most of the time, but if you want to, I'll show you what the footer does. So you can say this is a footer. It's basically like a piece of text that'll go at the bottom. Note that you can't actually put embedded links into a footer, and I don't think you can put emojis down there either. You might be able to, but you can't put embedded links down there. There's also a picture that can go with the footer as well. So you can make this picture whatever you want, but message the author, display avatar URL. We can make it the same as the author, just to show that it works. There's also, actually wait. So if we run the command now, you'll see that our embed has got to the point where there's a footer here now. So what does set timestamp do? It basically just adds to the footer. So if you set timestamp, it requires a JavaScript date. If you want the date now, then that's how you do it, date.now. That's the JavaScript date. So let's try running this again. And now you can see that it adds to the footer this thing, and then today at whatever time it is. This is what time it is in Britain right now. And that's literally an embed. I think that's basically all you can do with an embed. So of course you can do many things. You can have 25 fields, you can have up to 2048 characters in the description, you can have images. You don't have to have any of these things. This is an embed with everything in it, but you don't have to have these things, basically. And if you're wondering where I got all this from, just go into the Discord.js website, rich embed, and they're all here, methods, and there's also properties too, but that's only if you're reading embeds, and we don't really need to do that. So that's embeds, we've done that. Now let's move on to the basic and common commands. So the first command that we're going to try to make today is userinfo. We can make this just like any other command, but a userinfo command is basically a command that's going to give a user a lot of information about themselves or some other person, like their ID and whatever. So I make a userinfo command just like we did for the other ones, and we're going to want to make another embed just like we did last time. But now we're going to make it suitable for the user info. So we can set the color whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. And then we can set the author. So something like info for, and then wait, that's the wrong thing. Info for message dot author. As you know, let's not do it that way. If we define a user at the start, and then call it message dot author, then that means that we can just put user here instead, and we can also change it later. It's better programming practice, I guess. Info for user dot tag, and this will show the full Discord name of user that you're trying to get the info for, basically. And then you can also put the avatar in this author as well. You might want a title, say user info. Actually, no, we don't really need a title. And now we might want to add fields for the user info. It depends. You can go around on bots and try their different user info commands, and you'll come up with many different results. I don't even have any user info commands. Say Mantaro's user info command, for example. This doesn't even use any fields. This is all a description. So if you wanted to basically get your user info command inspired by other bots, then that's fine. You can do this in a lot of different ways. It's just displaying data, basically. We're gonna do it using fields, but as I said, you can do this any way you want. So we can have a field that says ID, and then we can add the user's ID in that, and you basically just put user.id. That's how simple it is. We can make that inline too, just like we did with the test embed. We can add another field for the join date, I guess. Oh yeah, just to point out that you can get a lot of this information from the user in discord.js.org. There's a lot of things that you can put here, like their presence, like what they're playing on Discord, their username, The created timestamp is when they were basically created, like when the user actually started Discord, when they made their account. Oh, sorry, whoops. That didn't work because I put message.author here instead of message.content. Well, that shit just happens. I'm only human. Let's just try this again. So it didn't work. So user info, as you can see, we have info and then ID, and then that join date doesn't make sense. I know that. I didn't actually know what the create timestamp does. But if you want to basically put the date that they were created, that's pretty simple. You can get a date object by doing user.createdAt, and then using a date object. This is a separate JavaScript thing altogether. This is to do with Discord bots, but basically you can get a time. You can get a readable format of this. So to date string, but I prefer to UTC string. They'll produce different results. You can try them if you want. No, it doesn't need to have function brackets, sorry. So let's just try this one as well, and as you can see, join date Saturday 26th of September 2015. That's when my Discord account was created. So there you go, you can do things like that. Perhaps you want their status as well, whether online or something. Well, we can do that. Also, we can make this inline too. And this will do basically go with the user.presence and then .status, and then make that inline. Let's also add another one, playing, and this will basically be what game they're playing. So user.presence.game basically .name. Of course, I'm getting all of this from the Discord.js website. So user.presence, and then you can get status, and then game, and then name. It's all here basically. It's not difficult to follow. Now we can try this again. There's actually a problem with this because sometimes the game isn't actually a thing. Sometimes the user isn't actually playing a game, such as when they're invisible or something like that. So what you want to do in this instance is we're going to have to create an external if statement for this. So I want to define game as the game that they're playing. So this can be just a string. And then we want to do if user.presence.game. If the game actually exists, then game equals user.presence.game.name, the name of the game. Else, game would equal nothing because they're not playing anything. Then down here, instead of that, you can just put game, and that should be robust, as in it won't actually run into an error if someone's not playing a game. And here we go. As you can see, it doesn't. So my join date is September 2015. Of course, my status is offline because I am indeed invisible, and I'm playing nothing because I'm invisible. So there we go. Just to prove it, if I change to do not disturb and then try this again, it'll say D&D. So that's how you do it. So this is all good, but there's one problem with this, is that it'll only show user info for yourself, basically, for the person that sends it. How do you show user info? So if you wanted to do user info and then mention someone, how would you make that happen? That's pretty simple. So basically you have the message of content in itself. We wanted to find some more variables though, such as the args, everything that's in the message but split by a space. So we wanted to find args as a constant, so const args equals message.content dot split. And then there's an interesting thing you can do here, because you can either split it by just a space like that, and that will basically say if the content is, say, user info and then Rubix, then that will turn it into an array that has this and then that. But the problem is, if that had two spaces or a lot of spaces, it wouldn't do that. It would have like tons of spaces here basically, and we don't want that. So instead of doing that, there's actually a fun way to do this. I spent a lot of time researching this, if you just do forward slash and then a backward slash and then s plus and then forward slash again, this will make it so that it splits it by however many spaces there are. So even if there's a lot of spaces, it won't matter, it will split it by spaces, and that's exactly what we want. There's also another thing that can be very useful to have, and that's basically just, say you have a command, someone enters a command like help, and then they have some additional message after that. That's not a good example, but rank and then the member after that. And we want everything that comes after the command, so that we can basically, if they try searching for member like Rubix, but the member has spaces inside it, we want to be able to read all of that and search for a user using that, for example. So to get that, we basically, I like to have a variable called content, which is like the content of the message but excluding the command. Basically, you can call this whatever you want, but that's what I like to call it. So to do this, it's basically just args.splice1 and then join it again. So what you're doing here is you're taking args, which might be, say, rank and then member, and you're just throwing away this. So that's what the splice one does, makes it into that, and then it joins it by spaces basically. So everything, so this will basically turn into just member, and that's how we make that. So that's useful. Now if we go back down to the userinfo command, we can use this to basically search for a user in the parameter. So obviously someone's going to enter the command like this, they're going to have userinfo and then the member after that, and this might have loads of spaces in it and stuff. So we want to try and turn that into a Discord member. Be advised that a Discord member isn't the same thing as a user. So this is a user, but a member is different. A user is like a Discord user and just in a general sense, but a member is a user inside a guild. So this is like the roles that they have and whatever. It's a lot different, and you can get a lot more information from a guild member, but a guild member is always linked to a guild. So in DMs, there won't be a thing as a guild member, it'll only be users. A guild is basically a Discord server. So in order to get whatever they put here in member, we use content. But just to make it simpler, if you want to, if they mention someone like that, then it's very easy to get it. It's basically just let member equal message dot mentions dot members dot first. The message dot mentions is all the mentions, and then the members is the members mentions. So like, you know, you can mention roles and channels as well. Mentions includes all of that, but members filters it to only the members. And then the first is basically just the first one that they mentioned. So if they mention 2 users, it'll just take the first one. There's one problem with this, is that if you wanted to use this command inside a DM, this just wouldn't work, because you can't mention a member in a DM. There's one way around this though, that's more advanced. I'll probably teach you that in a future tutorial. But for now, assuming this command is only used inside a server, we can do a lot of things with this, like the roles that someone has, for example. Also, I do realize that I also used user here, but I also need member, which is a more effective way to do it. Actually, we can just do this, let user equals member.user. As I said, members aren't the same things as users, but if you want to get the user from a guild member, then you can just use member.user, and that'll be okay. So now if you ever want to use member, we can use member. If you want to use the user of that member, we can just use user. Also, we've got to be prepared for the fact that someone might not even mention the user. They might just use userinfo. In this case, we want to have the member as, so let's just do let member right here and get rid of this one. And we want to do if message dot mentions dot members, So if they actually mention someone, then the member should be this. But if they didn't do that, then the member would just be themselves, which is message.member. So that's like message.author, but it returns the member as well. Also, just because this command won't work in DMs, we can also make another if statement for that, and we can do if not message guild. Basically, if there isn't a server, so if it's in DMs or a group DM or something like that, we can return message to channel that send this command can only be used in a server, so not a DM. Return will basically make it send that and then not do anything below here, because otherwise it'll run into an error. Now using the member we can do a lot more things. If we go into this, we can also get their roles and stuff like that. So to get their roles, we're going to need to make, depends how I want to actually send the roles. If I wanted to make a string, say, of roles, then we can have the names of all the roles that someone has inside that string. Basically want to do member.roles for each x. Each x represents a role, so we want to do roles plus equals x dot name and then a comma after that, or we can just do that or something like that. So basically for every single role that a user has, it'll join it for this, and then you could use that. So add field roles, and then we'll put the roles in there. So that's the roles that a member will have. I think that will work. Let's test it. Wait, one way to improve this is to do let member equals message.member straight off the bat. But if there is message.mentions, if there is actually mentions of members, then we'll make it that. I think that would be a better way to do it. Let's just test this. That's why it's wrong, because message.mentions.members is actually, I think it's always a thing, but it might not be. So we want to do size equals 0. Wait, size is not equals 0, because I think this will always be a thing, but its size will just be 0 if no one has mentioned anything. So I think that will work better. Yeah, so this works. So if we do userinfo, and we have everything that we put here, so ID is that, join date is that, whatever, and the roles we have at everyone. Everyone has the everyone role and some random bot dev, and that's the only role that I have. So all the roles will show here separated by the thing that you put here. You can see how it all fits together. Also, if you don't want the everyone role to be in there, then that's pretty simple. You just want to basically do if x.name, if the role isn't called at everyone, then add that to the roles. Let's try this here. Wait for the bot to restart. Let's try this again. As you can see, it'll just end at some random bot dev and it won't show at everyone, which is pretty useful. Now, of course, you can keep messing around with this. You can go in the guild members, you can show a lot of things here. You can show their nickname, their permissions that they have. You can show a lot of things, but we won't cover those in this tutorial. If you ask me, then I will cover how to do anything here in the userinfo command and how to make it a little bit better. But that's a userinfo command for you, so we've done that. And now we're going to move on to, say, a help command. So a help command will basically use an embed as well if you wanted to. Help commands can be done in a variety of ways. Just like every other command, you can do these in your own ways. I've created commands that are way different to how I'm teaching it right now. For example, I've got a help command that automatically generates itself based on the commands that there is in the bot. I'll show you how to do that in a later tutorial, but not right now because it's a little bit advanced. So the help command, we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to make an embed, and inside the we're going to set the color to anything that we want, black, and we don't need an author, but we'll set the title to help for, and then the bot's username maybe. Then I want to set a description, I think, which would be pretty nice. And then the description can be what we have in our bot, so all the commands. So you can keep adding to this if you want. It's basically, we'll just use double asterisk so that it's bold if you know about Discord formatting. And we'll have the first command, which is prefix hello. Then we can do /n for new line, and we can describe it. It says hi in the chat. That's basically all it does. Yeah. Oh, it says hello. Okay, so we can make this more friendly. Make the bot say hello, and then 2 new lines, and then we can start a new command. So prefix userinfo /n display information about a given user. Usage can be prefix userinfo member @member. Don't forget to send the embed afterwards. And let's just try this. Oh, it's the wrong command. Help. And here we go. We got help for testing. Basically, that's the name of the bot. Then we got hello. Make the bot say hello. User info. Anyway, that's just the help command. You know, there's a lot more things that you can do. Obviously, I can show you my help commands for my bots, and you could try doing the same thing because you know all the skills necessary to try and do that. I've taught you that. So say my help command does it like this. So you know, we've got the embed that I've seen, and there's different categories, and you can do help info, and it has characters like that. There's obviously a lot of things that you can do with the help command if you want to get advanced with it. Of course, if you need any one-on-one help, you can just message me in Discord or comment, and I'll show anything. Okay, let's move on to the kick command now that we've done the help command. So basically just want to do the same thing again. If message.content equals prefix, and then we have kick, then firstly you're going to want to ensure that this isn't sent in a DM channel. So if not message.guild, return message.channel.send. This command can only be used in a Discord server or just in a server. And then now I want to check if the bot has, no, if the member has enough permissions to actually kick, because we only want this command being used by members that have the permission to kick. So we're doing if not message.member has permission basically checks if a member has a permission to do something, and this we wanted to kick members. So if they don't have that, then send you don't have enough permissions to kick. Now we also want to check that the bot actually has permissions to kick as well, because if the bot doesn't have permissions to kick, then obviously it won't be able to kick. So to get the bot, we do message.guild.me. This basically shows the bot as a guild member inside that guild. So basically this is if the bot has permission to kick members, then if the bot doesn't have permission to kick members, then return message.channel.send. I don't have enough permissions to kick this user, basically. And there's also another thing, because bots can't kick members that are higher above them. I mean, no Discord user could kick members that are higher above them if, you know. So what we do is, which we try, actually, yeah, we can do member.kick, and you can also put a reason in here as you want. You can also put a reason, say like message.author.tag asked me to kick this person. I mean, that's the reason. Now that's gonna kick the member, but after that we do .then. .then basically gives you a function. This X is basically the person that was kicked, You can call that member if you want. Let's just call it member just for simpleness. And this is basically gonna after they're kicked, we're gonna do message.channel.send kicked x.user.tag, and then we can also put a wait there if we want to. Now this would work except if the bot has first the kick but can't actually kick someone higher than it, in which case we're gonna need a catch. So that's basically done like this. We do dot catch and then x, and this is basically going to be if it runs into an error, like it doesn't have enough permissions to kick, then we'll send message.channel send something went wrong. This is probably because I cannot kick this member, and that should work as a kick command. That's it. Also, I forgot that we haven't actually set the member, so if we go back down to the user info, we can just snap this and we can define the member like that. But also we need to make sure that if there isn't actually a member, so if no one has actually pinged someone to be kicked, then we need to basically say please specify someone to be kicked using prefix kick and then @member, and that should work. Let's test it by trying to kick Bantaro or rhythm. Actually, I don't use rhythm. So if we do kick rhythm, this should work for. Oh shit, my bad. Instead of doing equals for all of these, you want to do starts with. I don't know why I thought that this would work, because otherwise if there's stuff after the prefix kick, then obviously this isn't gonna work. So we need to have starts with. I'm making a lot of mistakes, I apologize for that. So let's change all of these to starts with, and it should work fine after that. My bad. So now if we test this, also this should work for user info too. So if we do user info Bantaro, for example, then it'll show it for Bantaro, for example. So let's try the kick command. Oh, see, testing has said that it doesn't have enough permissions to kick this user. So if we give testing permissions, I guess, give them permission to kick members, then this should work now. And alright, well, rhythm was kicked, but he's saying that something went wrong. Alright, that's what went wrong. See, I'm trying to use X there, but it's actually a member. My bad. So it doesn't work. Let's try doing this again, but this time we'll kick a Rickbot. And as you can see, it says kicked Rickbot and no longer in the server. So there's your kick command. Also, that won't work if you don't have kick permissions. If someone doesn't have kick permissions in the server, then that won't work. So no one can abuse that to use the bot to kick anyone they want. Basically, I obviously have kick permissions because that's my own server. Now let's move on to ban. Now this will work basically almost exactly the same as the kick command, but a little bit different. So I want to just do this all over again. Starts with prefix ban. Then obviously we can basically just copy and paste this line. That's fine. And then we can also, we can get the member the same way too. And then, now this is where I changed a little bit. We want to do, if not message.member has permission, but this time it's going to be ban members, then return, basically copy this, return I do not have enough permissions to ban, basically. Now we want to do the same thing but for the other one, so we can just do message.guild.me.has permission to ban members. I don't have enough permissions to ban. Then we want to do basically just member.ban, I think it is. Might not be. Let me just look up the Discord JS. So we have guild member. Yeah, ban is a method, so that works. Member.ban. You can also put a reason here as well by putting brackets like that, and then putting reason. We can make it the same as this reason right here. So basically, ask me to kick this person. You can also select the amount of days of messages to delete. This is an option in normal Discord when you ban a member, for example. Let me just demo this. If I chose to ban this member, then you can select the days. Well, bots can also do this by basically going days and then whatever number you want. I'm not going to use that. By default, it just bans them permanently. So then that's going to ban them, and then after that, remember that was banned. Just like we did for the kick command, we can basically say copy and paste this and go banned message member to user tag, and then you'll wave if you want to. And also it's a good idea to make that the catch, just in case there's an error. And also if you want to log the error, when an error happens, that can be useful. You just console.log x, whatever you put here. Alright, let's test out this command. So let's ban, say, avowed. Alright, as you can see, testing doesn't have enough permissions to ban, and that makes sense. Let's also just test that this works. Oh, no it doesn't. Okay, so at the top here I want to also put let member equals undefined. I think that'll help. See, if we don't actually define member here, then this won't actually log either. Right, now this works. So if we do ban, then we please specify someone's kicked. We also need to change that ban instead, so that it's not the same as kick. And it also works with you kick as well, I think. As you know, it won't, because we need to change this one as well. We need to do let member equals undefined, of course. And now it should work for testing as well. There we go. And also the ban should work for the bot now, I think. Alright, yeah, we're gonna give the bot permissions to ban. So it's going to Rubix bots and ban members. When you give the bot permissions to ban, it will be able to do it. So as you can see, they were banned, and that bot is now gone. And I'm sure they won't mind. So there we go. That's how you make a ban command. Pretty simple so far. Now what's more advanced is the mute command. So listen carefully to the next steps. So as with all the commands, we're going to start off with the start. So message start content that starts with prefix mute. Oh, that's spelled wrong. And we want to basically do the same thing that we did for kick. So if there isn't actually a guild, then let's just copy this actually. Obviously this command can only be used in a server. I just realized I spelled command wrong for all of them. And we're gonna call for member the same way as the other ones. And we're gonna just copy this as well, but this time we're gonna change it to manage messages. Now of course there isn't actually a Discord permission to mute a member, because by mute we mean stopping them from talking in a channel, not mute in the sense of stopping them from talking in a voice channel. But manage messages is usually the way to go, because usually someone with the permission of manage messages would be managing the messages in the channel, so obviously they can now mute someone. But you can set that to whatever you want. Basically it's the permission that someone needs to be able to mute someone inside your server. You don't have permissions to mute this member. You need permissions to manage messages, for example. Of course, the bot doesn't actually need manage messages to mute someone, of course, functionally, but the bot does need the permission to manage roles for this command, and you'll see why in a minute. I need the manage roles permission. So there we go. Also, the bot can't actually give someone a role if they're the same role as it or it's a higher role. So basically the bot can't mute someone that's in a higher role or in the same role. So the way we check for this is we do member dot highest role, which is their highest role. For example, the role that's the highest, it will return that one that they have, and then the position will return the position of it. If it's greater than or equal to the message.guild.me dot highest role, this is the bot's highest role dot position, then that means that they have either the same role or a role that's higher than the bot. So we have to return this channel to send. I cannot mute this member as they have a higher slash the same slash higher role than me. Now we're going to actually need to make a muted role or find one. And this is because a muted role is basically the role that you'll give to someone that has no permissions, so that then they can't talk in the Discord server. So we find this is messages.guild.roles. Messages.guild.roles contains all the roles of the guild. Then we find a role specifically, and we do this using a function. So this is the role, and this will basically loop through every single role in the server until something matches this criteria. So what the criteria we want is x.name. Then we want to lowercase equals muted. So basically, if there's a role called muted, or if there's a role called muted like that, or like that, basically, it'll find it and return it. And if there isn't a muted role, then the bot is going to actually create one itself. Yeah, we don't need that. The bot is going to create one itself. So the way that we do that is message.guild.create role, and now we're going to need all the settings for it. So the name will be muted, the position can be anything, but if you want it to be the highest position that the bot possibly can put it, then just do this. Basically the position is like the position of the role inside the Discord server. So if I bring up my Discord server, this role has the highest position, and you know the roles have a permission. It's basically how they're ordered. That's what the role positions are. If you do it the same position as the highest role of your bot, then it will become underneath your bot's role, I think. If it doesn't do that, then you want to do just -1 for that. I don't know how it works actually. Sometimes it does it like that, sometimes it doesn't. So just try that out. The color of the role can be anything, although you know some server owners like the muted role to be black for some reason. What's important is the permissions. The permissions should be 0. That basically means that there'll be no permissions, so that they won't be able to chat in servers basically. If you want to set a reason, then that'll be here, the reason, in between these brackets, and the reason could be no muted role currently in place, of course. Then after that role is created, so we do the then muted role equal to x. So muted role is equal to the role that we just created basically. And now since that muted role is created, what we want to do is add that role to the member by doing this muted role.add role member.add role muted role. And then once that's added, we want to send the message.send muted x.user tag. And then you can just have an emoji here or something. You can send anything you want just to show that the user has been muted. Now let's test it. For this test I'm going to use an alt. So let's go into this bot channel and we mute. I'm going to be muting Snack. And as you can see, the bot doesn't have the manage roles position, so the bot can't actually mute. Also, just check that I don't have a muted role already. Alright, so let's give them the manage roles permission. And then mute Snack. Alright, something went wrong. Alright, okay, so you cannot read the property highest role undefined. That's because I did member instead of guild. So that's my font. So we're gonna just change that. It's message.guild.me, not message.member. Yeah, that's my problem. Alright, it should work now. So let's try muting Snack again. Alright, I know what the problem is. It's because the role isn't being created fast enough for it to actually register basically. So instead of having this then, we don't actually need that. What we can do is just straight up do this, muted role equals this, but then we need to do await And what await will do is, because this is a promise, so this actually takes time to do because it needs to contact Discord and make a role. So if what it would do is await, is it will wait for this to finish, which is only a few milliseconds, but it matters. And then once it's finished, you'll save that as muted role, and then I think that's what the problem is, and that should solve it. Let me just check that there isn't a muted role already. Right, yeah, as you can see, it did make the muted role, but it didn't actually work. I'm going to delete that and see if this works again. Mute snack. Oh, and if you're going to add an await, then the message thing needs to be async as well. You need to put async there. That's necessary. Otherwise it won't work. So that's my bad. Alright, let's try this again. This is all part of the process, basically, just like failing and then looking at the errors and learning from your mistakes to fix the code. You're not ever going to get it right first time. Okay, so if we go into this channel now and we mute snack, you can see, let's say muted snack, and mute snack has the muted role, and we didn't even have the muted role before, but as you can see, the bot has actually created it, and it went to the bottom. So as I said, basically, if it goes to the bottom, then basically this needs to be -1, otherwise that won't work. So there you go. Now I'm going to jump onto the snack and let's see if we can talk. Also, as well as this, you're going to need to actually make the muted role like not have the ability to talk in basically all of the channels on the server. So how we do this is we want to loop through all of the channels on the server. So we go here and we do message.guild.channels. This is all the channels, and then for every channel, just for convenience, I'm going to call this channel. And then we want to do channel.set permissions for, I think this is it. Alright, it's overwrite permissions, but first we want to check that the channel is actually text. So if channel.type equals text, so that we make sure it's a text channel, not like a category or something. And actually, yeah, it would be better if we did it for categories. Other outdated tutorials will basically go for channels, but since we have categories now, we can go through all of the categories and we can overwrite permissions of the categories. So overwrite permissions. I think this is how you do it. I want to override permissions role, so muted role, and we muted role, and then in this object we want to put send messages false, because we don't want to send messages. I think that needs to be a string, and that should be it. Actually, what I want to do instead is category text. Then basically this will overwrite every text and category channel to send messages false. So that means that every channel without fail will be set to disallow the muted role, that permission. So if we do this again, now you can see that every single channel you cannot talk in, basically, as a snack. So there you go. That's how you do it. Now, of course, there isn't actually a function to unmute, and when you mute someone that's already muted, it won't do anything and stuff like that. So what we want to do, once the member has been done that, then let's check permissions. Get on here, and if the member dot roles dot has, we need to define the muted role first. If member dot roles dot has muted role, then return channel.send. This user is already muted, and that's the entire mute command. As for an unmute, we can just quickly do that. If message dot if message dot content that starts with prefix unmute, then we basically want to do let muted role equal this, and if that doesn't exist, then this user is not muted. And now what if that actually does exist, then if member.roles.has, if not member.roles.has muted role. So if they don't have the muted role, then obviously they're not muted. This also needs to be returned, so does this. And then else, we basically just want to message member.remove role, muted role, and then message the channel.send. I have unmuted member.user.tag. That should work, except we haven't defined the member, so we need to just do this again. Copy this and put it down here. And I think that should unmute people. Let's just try it. Unmute Snick. Now, just a side note, obviously we want this here too, so that it can't be used in the same guild. I think what's wrong here is that it needs to be muted role.id. Yeah. Because that needs to be a string, not a role. Okay, so change that muted role to id. And now if we try muting Snick, that should work. They're never muted and they've lost the role. So obviously we can talk here now. If you try it again, they're not muted. And if you try muting them again, then they're muted, and then you can unmute just like that. So that's basically the entire tutorial. That's 4 basic commands and how embeds work. So hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I hope it helped you out, and I hope that your bot works. And if it doesn't, please actually type a comment and basically just ask for help, because I'll respond to every comment. I'm so small that there's no way that I'll lose you in the flow of comments. So like the video if it helped. I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye. Just wanted to say that I've been awake for a long time making these videos, and I really do put a lot of effort into them. So it would actually make my day if you did leave a comment and subscribe, because I'm knackered and I'm also starving. Have a nice day.